Hello, my friends, and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Just spent a little bit of time playing gory, cuddly carnage, and my hands hurt because I'm not used to using a controller anymore, and I have a tendency to grip it too hard. But it was absolutely worth the time spent. Definitely a fun game, kind of hack and slashy. I recommend it if you have a chance. That said, this morning I was scrolling Twitter and saw a familiar face with the caption, "He's so mad." And after listening to it for a little bit, I started to get mad. Not in agreement, but because of the points he was making. But he does have one or two points that one could say are correct. So I wanted to go ahead and go through this. I'll probably pause and rant a few times just because, but I did want to give Astro Cyborg on Twitter a shout for being the one who clipped it so I could see it. Now, you'll recall this fellow from a video not that long ago. I still don't know anything about him. I'm not going to lie. I'm not someone who pays a lot of attention, unfortunately. But I do know enough to know let's just say if we were in a room talking, he and I wouldn't see eye to eye, and more than likely he wouldn't want to be in the room with me because he would think I'm one of the most evil people alive. But let's hear what he has to say.
So I shouldn't have to buy a Switch 2. I shouldn't have to buy a PlayStation 5 Pro. Why? Why? There's nothing objective about it. It's pure consumer ideology. And the biggest problem with it is it's not ideology that's driven by value. It's ideology driven by being cheap.
What do you mean it's not ideology that's driven by value? It's ideology that's driven by being cheap. What do you think value represents? Of course, he's not going to explain that.
The ideology is driven by being cheap. You think that's good for the market? A cheap, frugal, penny-pinching mentality? You think that's good for a luxury market?
I mean, it's a luxury market, so of course people aren't really going to be investing their needed money into it. And the fact of the matter is, it is on the market to provide the value to the customers so that they are willing to part with their money, so that they feel they're getting the value back on their money. It is not on the customer or the consumer to just spend to keep the market going. No, the market has to provide a product that the consumer wants.
We should be able to dictate what these businesses do so that I save money.
Yes, that's exactly how it works. We dictate what the businesses do by spending our money. If the businesses spend too much money producing their product and the consumers don't want the product at the price they present it, the market then has to go back and fix it so that the consumer decides to buy it, or the gamer in this case.
What? What are you talking about?
I just said it.
Doesn't even make any sense. Undue hardship on the businesses. They should have to. So let me get this straight. The businesses should have to spend more money, not you.
I mean, they might have to spend more money, and then they can try to charge somebody more money. But unless what they're spending more money on provides the consumer the value that they feel they should be getting, they won't. I mean, that's part of being a luxury good.
You know how backwards that is? You're the consumer.
Right. So the market should be giving me what I think my money is worth.
You're the consumer. The very act of consumption requires the spending of money. If you want to consume, you must spend. So you want them to spend the money so you don't have to. You've got the relationship backwards, mate. You're the consumer.
Yes, they want my money. Thus, they need to make sure they are giving me the value for the money that I am spending. He seems to think that just because you are the consumer, you're supposed to automatically want the product. Thus, if the product costs more, you should automatically just be spending more, not considering what value you're getting. For example, I don't see any reason to get a PS5 Pro. For one, in my opinion, it's a downgrade from my PS5 because I have the PS5 with the disc in it. And in order to be able to put a disc in a PS5 Pro, you have to get a separate piece. That's bullshit. That is a decrease for my value, and it costs more than what I paid for my PS5. So that would be a negative. I don't care that they spent more making it. Fact is, I will be losing in that transaction because the value of the product has gone down. This, to me, the actual cost of labor and pieces might be up, but that doesn't mean its value to me goes up as well.
Like this This is the one I get the most tired of. They'd make more money. No, they wouldn't. You think every little AA indie studio is just sitting on like potential buckets of cash and they're just too stupid to figure it out? The right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of platinuming all games. Right. So let me get this straight. You think every AA studio out there, every AAA studio out there, every third-party publisher, every indie studio, I guess they're all dumb.
I'm not going to lie. I feel like he kind of shifts topics here, and he hasn't let us in on what he is saying now, because he has gone from being maybe that's a portion that's missing at the beginning, but let's listen a little longer and see if it becomes clear what he's saying.
Because they could be making buckets of more cash. All they'd have to do is just make their game for all platforms. How dumb they all are. They're all really bad at making money, I guess. I mean, apparently there's just a make the games for all platforms button, and they could just be like swimming in a Scrooge McDuck bank, and they're just too dumb to figure it out, I guess.
That is a point that bothers me on occasion, because people don't seem to understand that when you are making a game for various platforms, there's a lot of things to consider. I will say it's easier now today than ever to cross-platform your games, to make your games available on all platforms, just because architecture has gradually become closer to one another. So the hardware and software you're dealing with a PS5 isn't as far away as what you're dealing with in a Xbox, but there's still a difference. So you can't just build a game to be played on Xbox and automatically shift it to PS5. You'd have a lot easier time shifting it to PC, and again, it'd be a lot harder even to get it on Switch. And I understand most people don't think about that or care. They just want the game on their favorite console and they want to be able to play it. I get that. But at the same time, there is a lot of work and effort that goes into putting these things on more than one console. And that's part of why I actually don't like it when they release across all consoles right off the bat, unless I know that they've really worked on it and optimized it for each platform. Because optimizing for PC is different than optimizing from Xbox, is different from optimizing on PS5. They each have their own little problems, and I would prefer they put the time into really getting it right than releasing something half-assed. The fact that they half-ass so much stuff that they don't really put the effort in because they're trying to diversify too far too fast is part of why we get so much shit. I mean, once upon a time, getting a game on more than one console wasn't happening. That's why there was a console war, because consoles used to have exclusives. Now you can find your games on more than one platform. I don't even know of any PlayStation 5 exclusives at this point. And I wouldn't care, because I would just wait for them to come out on PC, because eventually they will. In this world, eventually they do come out on PC, because they've learned that, yes, diversifying our audience, making our audience bigger by appealing to more platforms really works for us. Now, it has to be a good game for that to work well, but it does if they do it right. If they really optimize it correctly. I do think if they go into building the game with the idea to release on all platforms and optimize correctly, they can release on all platforms. But I really would prefer if they would stop just releasing automatically across all platforms, because I would like to see them put the focus, and we are all tired of broken ass games. And if they really worked at it, if they took the money out of making better graphics and put it into optimization, they would probably find themselves in a much better place. Because while yes, we like pretty graphics, we like games that don't crash a whole lot more. Other than the fact he has the idea of the market relationship to the consumer completely ass backwards, he's right. It is harder to release across consoles, though depending on the game, you could probably make buckets of money. That assumes that you have the time. And not every game should be on every platform. Some games would be so much better if the developers, instead of trying to cross-platform their games, sat down, developed it really well for that one platform, and focused the way they used to, back when I was a kid. Back when I was a little one, and the only games that you really had were Nintendo or Sega, and there weren't a lot of crossovers. I think there might have been some, but not a lot. You really just had games on one and games on the other. And that was part of the reason to own more than one. That was the reason we owned more than one. But yeah, short little rant, just because I think while we're getting better at understanding where we as gamers sit in the marketplace and understanding our power, I think it bears reminding. I think it is helpful to reinforce the fact that we still have the power, that no matter what arguments you might be having with somebody, what discussions you might have about what kind of games should be made, what kinds of undress should be allowed in games, in the end, what's really going to influence that more than anything is where people choose to spend their money. People who speak out and say they do or don't want something specific in gaming, but buy the games that have the things they don't like because they're fun, aren't helping themselves. They aren't doing anything useful. The only way you can really influence gaming is to buy what you want and don't buy what you don't want. And that's not me saying there shouldn't be discussion, because people seem to think that's what I'm saying is don't discuss it. No, I'm just saying that when it comes to action, that's where the rubber meets the road. That's where actual change takes place. Yeah, we can have all the discussion we want. We can try to persuade each other, and that's fine, because discussion is always good, as long as it's actual discussion, not just yelling back and forth. That I don't have the energy for, unless, of course, it's me yelling at somebody's video. But first, for puppy pictures, be sure to check out the community tab. I've got just one or two that I'm putting in there. I don't know if I can put a little video there. I'll try. But there's a little video I took, two of them, they just being goofy cute. Carolyn was curled up against the cat. It was funny. But I also need to say thank you to everybody who is a member here on the channel. That is DX Machina NZ, Emperor Doomsday, Schmitted, Almogo, Narrator 45, Felix, Stormborn, Corinne Ponder, Ben Henniger, and John Grant. I also have to extend an extra special thank you to Silver over on Ko-Fi. Thank you so much for your contribution here on the channel. And for everybody else, the fact that you spend your time here, as far as I'm concerned, your time is your most precious commodity, and I genuinely appreciate it so very much. All that said, let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I look forward to reading them. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the notifications. If you really liked it, you can feel free to share it around, and I will catch you later.